I find your lack of faith disturbing. Darth Vader came into my dream saying this when I first saw the Star Wars Squadrons and thought I should pass. Well, the next morning I gave it a shot and am blown away. So today I'm going to share an overview of this game. If you are planning to purchase this game, make sure you watch this video till the end. While you're at it, subscribing to the channel and press the bell icon would be the best idea so you do not miss any update from this channel. Made by Motive Studios, Star Wars Squadrons is really a game of two halves, the 10-hour campaign and two multiplayer modes, which to my surprise, feel completely different, despite sharing the same set of controls. Set after the destruction of the second Death Star, in the strange limbo between the original trilogy and the sequels, Squadrons tells the story of two elite forces as they battle to wrest control of a new weapons project developed by the Rebellion New Republic. The player flips between the Empire's Titan and the New Republic's Vanguard squadrons throughout several chapters, giving the campaign a nice sense of flow and progression. Since Squadrons is placed oddly in the Star Wars timeline, fans will be disappointed to find out there are not many historical defining moments, but don't just throw the idea of playing it away. Hear me out. Star Wars Squadrons has its moments, and it wins where it is most important. It's a thrill to maneuver spaceships a hair's breadth above the surface of a Star Destroyer, through stunning renders of nebulae and war reeks floating around in the infinite universe. Everything is more vivid when you see it yourself, and it feels like no game has felt in a long time. Its flight model is designed for simpler than Microsoft's Flight Simulator, but enough to make the player develop some skills to fly around, fighting the enemies throughout the game. You start to get the feeling when to cut the throttle to take the right turn, when is the right time to flick all the power to your weapons to lay on damage, and how to survive focusing on your shield to take a few more hits from the back. A rather major function of the campaign, however, seems to be teaching the player how to operate the controls, sort of like an extended tutorial for the multiplayer. Squadron's mechanics center on transferring power to your engines, weapons, or shields, depending on the situation, or your ship, as some can swap power between the engine and weapons, while others can shift shields between the front and rear. At times, it's also guilty of oversteering the player in certain missions, that asteroid escape scene being one example, where the player has to escape via a very specific route instead of being given the freedom to find their way out. Funnily enough, outflying an explosion becomes a lot less tense when you have to slowly follow one character to the exit. When it comes to mood building, Squadrons does the job right. The painting of the Star Wars universe is near to perfection, and how any fan would have imagined this to set in reality if it had happened. It has a sort of hollowness I can only attribute to its AI dogfights, a lot of which is spent rolling around looking for the next target and trying to swat your way through the enemy masses like a cloud of flies. And do not make my mistake of changing the difficulty to Ace. It promises a more realistic experience. Let me explain that as well. Everyone on your team gets lowered max health and an increased scale of overall battlefield chaos to a point it sometimes felt unfair. A flying piece of debris can easily crash into you. A single attack from a stray enemy can kill you. And a laser beam traveling from far can manage to skip flying rocks and ships and hit you. All this never gives you enough time to respond to the stimulus change. Speaking of realistic experiences, this game is VR ready, and that is a game changer. The moment you plug in your VR set, you can tell if this game is designed for VR. Story mode feels like a 3D motion ride in Disneyland. Even the scenes where your character is going through rooms, walking into those one-sided conversations, to soaring over a Star Destroyer in VR is truly thrilling. Everything is absolutely stunning. It gives the player a sense of scale, which is quite impossible to imagine playing on a screen. You get an incredible sense of scale when flying past these enormous spaceships, while the vibrant backdrops of shimmering nebulae and shattered planets are mesmerizing. I use the game's practice mode to simply sit in my ship and marvel at the view around me, and even spent some time just admiring the way the light falls into the cockpit. You should take the opportunity to look behind you when playing in VR, as each cockpit is carefully crafted to tell the story of that particular ship. Larger craft is given military seats and grab handles. TIE bombers show mysterious locked doors to the second cockpit, while Y-wings feel like the back of a cluttered station wagon from the 70s. I'd also never really thought about how dark and constricted a TIE fighter feels inside, with only a couple of small portholes at the back, as if the pilot is blinkered into focusing on the target in front. The multiplayer mode is also something that takes full advantage of VR. Paired with a nice headphone, you can feel enemies approaching you from the back, and you duck and dodge the fire. The multiplayer dogfights have a simple rule: kill as many as you can. Enemies chasing you without the power of AI, all using their reflexes and skills. Finding new ways to fight are some of the features that make the whole experience differ from any other game currently on the market. Nothing beats the unstoppable feeling of achieving a kill streak, particularly once you've mastered the controls and can fluidly switch from hammering your weapons to space drifting your way out of trouble. In Squadron's other multiplayers mode, fleet battles, switching between loadouts and ships, forms an integral part of the battle strategy. In the early stages, players will need to pick niftier ships for the initial dogfight, with the aim being to achieve more kills. Once on the attack, players can switch to heavy bombers to deal some damage to enemy capital ships, or perhaps select a support craft with a repairs loadout to help their squad mates under heavy fire. Learning when to time your attacks, switch power to your engines, or swap ship loadouts means there's a fair bit of depth to the multiplayer battles. Despite the game only really having 2 proper multiplayer modes, there are some things I feel can be made better, and I hope to see them in future updates, like rolling into the next match without quitting to the main menu. This concerns me because, again, the experience is so impressive. Wasting any time on restarting a match feels like wasted time. I suspect some balance changes will need to be made to adjust ship stats and loadouts, as I've noticed a worrying tendency for some TIE bombers to simply turn themselves into unmoving turrets in the middle of dogfights, which isn't exactly in the spirit of things. So, like the Force, there's some balancing work left to do here. The most important feature, the specialty of the game, would be its price. The complete game is just $40, and no microtransactions, now at least, from EA. No one has to wait for holidays to make the move. There is some serious thought put into producing every aspect of this game. So here it is, guys. Everything you should know before buying your copy of Star Wars Squadrons. I hope you enjoyed the review. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to press the bell icon so you don't miss out on the upcoming videos. I will see you guys in the next one.